Get set for another edition of PatternCast Market Talk. Ernie and Don, they're the guys when it comes to understanding markets. If there's an opportunity, they'll uncover it. If there are minefields, they'll open your eyes to it. The stories are amazing. You gotta love the tough love. These guys are awesome. So get set for PatternCast Market Talk. Oh, and if you learned something or can add to the topic, then leave a comment. Ernie and Don read everyone and would love to engage with you. Now, on with the show.
Welcome to another edition of PatternCast Market Talk. Before we get started, I want to talk about the date. The date today is June 24th. Why is that so special? Well, that's 6 days away from the end of the month, and that means that there's only 6 days left until you can take advantage of a special pricing offer we have for PatternCast. So go to PatternCast.com, use the code PATTERN, PATTERN, and you'll get an additional surprise. All right, Don, today we're going to talk about some of the, it's that time of the year where things are kind of slowing down a bit, but PatternCast seems to have this affinity to pick up things that most people don't see. And we have been getting some very interesting trades today. I know there's one that you wanted to talk about.
Well, yeah, the only trade that was signaled on this session was oil, and that's the futures contract is CL. And this morning, it was signaled as a buy, and it moved down about $1.10 or so during the session, allowing people a chance to get in and buy as it then climbed all the way back up to near the highs of the day.
Now, my understanding was that was a breakout signal. So when it hit that level, it tried to break out and then just pulled back right from that level. So you saw that as an opportunity as it pulled back because, one thing that I know about PatternCast is that when a signal is triggered, there is a 96% chance that signal is going to end up above that trigger point, and that's a significant thing when you take things into consideration.
Well, and the first thing you're asking is the type of the signal it was, and the type of the signal is that we expected it to continue to move higher over the next 4 sessions, and that's the thing.
Right. So we're not done by any means.
No, these signals are for 4 sessions, and today oil pulled back and allowing people a chance to get in. One of the things that people ask a lot about these signals is there just one price to buy at, or is there just one price to sell at? And because these are statistical numbers, or based on statistics, then I tell people that you're probably more often than not going to get more than one chance to buy. So today, when the signal was triggered and it pulled back in the live room, I showed as openly as you possibly can the time at which I would make a purchase, and that was at $56.90. And then that wasn't the exact bottom. The bottom of the day was 56.75, it looks like. So I missed the bottom by 15 cents, and it made a V bottom back up to over 58. So
we're still in that trade, and there's another 3 days left to see whether or not it will break through that triggered level.
Yeah, there's 3 sessions left, but what I'm saying is that one of the things that we provide as a service is that when a signal is triggered, we talk about live when we take those triggered signals or when we like it as a buy or a sell or whatever. And the feeling is of course over the next 4 sessions it's going to continue to move higher. But that doesn't mean we can't buy it at lower prices. And so I came in today at $56.90 and said, hey, this is a time that I like it as a buy. And it moved up almost, not immediately, over the next 20 or 30 minutes, it began to climb, and by the end of the day, it was back up to the original entry. So there were folks who messaged me personally and who were above water on a vehicle that ostensibly was flat on the day. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. And, I've seen this type of situation happen many times in the past, where being in the trade room when taking these signals really pays off for a lot of our subscribers.
Yeah, and the results that PatternCast signals generate don't even include the times that we better our position. So if you look at the results at the results page, and we're updating those at once a month now, or how often do you update those?
Yeah, once a month,
okay.
At the end of the month.
So when you look at the results page and you look at this, that's not even including the better price on top of the signal. So the signal is just, hey, if this price is hit, we think it's going to be higher than this over the next 4 sessions. But that doesn't mean you can't get even a better entry than that. And I pound the table on that concept, and today was a great example of where being patient allowed for an entry that then, by the end of the day, was profitable. I mean, you could have been profitable any way you traded it today. I'm just saying that with this signal and waiting for the entry that I got at 56.90, then it made it a much more profitable trade.
Yeah, I think the point here that I like to make is that these signals and the results and what they're based on are all statistical measures, things that have happened in the past, but they weren't necessarily a specific movement. Like some people will set up trade patterns like a head and shoulder or a breakout from
there's no way.
Penny or whatever.
Yeah, there's these patterns, there are thousands and thousands, and there's so many different patterns. I don't even know what these patterns are called. There's no name for these patterns. It's just when they organically happen, we know statistically what happens from that point forward by the end of the 4-day session, but we don't know what happens before the end of the 4-day session. So,
so that story could be different for virtually every trade.
Every trade could be a different story on how you get there. And the way that I like to use these signals is as a starting point. So we get the signal, gives a nice pullback. Anybody could have got in. And that's what I like about that. Anybody could have got in today. It pulls back, and then you could have made anywhere from $50 cents to $1 on oil on something that simply traded basically flat on the session. I'm just saying that PatternCast allowed for an opportunity that to the outside observer might not even have been there. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And I really like that approach because, quite frankly, nobody really knows where the market's going to go. And to sit there and be arrogant enough to think that you've got this Z pattern or this up and down, it's going to hit this level or that level down is, well, I use the word arrogant. And I find that is the way a lot of people trade. And it's probably the principal reason why a lot of people lose too, because they look at that as kind of as if they know where risk and reward are.
Right. And the other thing is, like, it would be amazing. Let's say every signal that was generated, it would just be totally amazing if the moment it was generated, it hovered up or down a nickel or so from the entry target, and then it just takes an hour and everyone has a chance to leisurely get in, and then just rockets higher and then makes everyone billionaires. That's not the way it works. That's not the way life is. And arrogance is completely removed with this system because all that we know is statistically what happens over 4 days. So in the meantime, when I get an opportunity like I did today, if I believe the system, I believe in the signals, statistically I know what the numbers look like on a pullback, it gives me pause to say, you know what, I think I'm going to pick some up on this pullback. That's something that without PatternCast, I would have no way of knowing. In fact, without PatternCast, I don't like trading at all. If PatternCast doesn't tell me something, then on a pullback, I could have been freaking out. Like, wait a second, it's dropping. Now what do I do? Instead, it was eagerly something I was looking to get into.
Yeah, belief is an important component because actually what you're saying is you have the confidence in the system because the math and the statistical history backs that up. And, what we see over a long period of time. And when you look at a lot of these signals, they're virtually every single pattern that we look at is found out of these unknowing patterns over decades of data.
Decades. We need to be very clear. This is over thousands and thousands of trading days. This is not over the last year or two. The PatternCast is looking at data over multiple decades.
And that's fundamentally different from the way most people are trading when they're trading with various indicators, these things that are overbought or oversold, where they're only looking really, when you look at it, only going back 10, 20 days.
Right,
tops.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how do you have confidence in 10, 20 days back when
I don't
compared to this, where you're looking at decades of data?
I don't. So I guess, to me, ultimately, bottom line here is it would be awesome if every time a signal was generated, it was just an immediate moneymaker, like the very second it happened. But I like these patterns where you get the pullback to buy into. I like that because I find, and I haven't back tested this, but I find that anecdotally, I'm making a higher percent on my money on those trades. So for the next 3 sessions, I think it's going higher, and the target is much higher, by the way. And so I hope that it will. But even if it doesn't, if it just stays flat where it is, our members got a chance to make money even as it traded flat on the day. And that's exciting to me.
That's awesome. And like I said, I've seen it happen so many times over the past 6 months. All right. Thank you very much. And I want to remind everybody that there are only 6 days left. June 30th, last day to take advantage of the special code pattern, and then the prices go up. You can get PatternCast at a fantastic deal right now.